day, everyone. So now let's proceed to Chapter 5, titled Doing History, a Guide for Students. It is not enough that we know our history. To address the importance of knowing our history and contributing of the narrative of the nation, we must first understand the relationship between history and social change. We must also realize that as agents of social change, we can contribute to the narrative of the nation by participating in writing about our past and our present. On interacting with history through historical shrines and museums will also help us in appreciating the story of the past as it comes to life through our own experiences and visiting and interacting with these learning spaces. These spaces serve not only as repositories of artifacts but also as dynamic environments where stories from the past come alive through personal engagement. As we navigate an increasingly complex world, such interactions become essential for cultivating informed citizens who appreciate the nuance of the story. And doing historical research online. So the internet has become the go-to source for information, offering vast amounts of data at our fingertips. With just one click, students can access a wealth of information. But this abundance can also lead to information overload. So let us start with the first tool that any student nowadays would use to do research, the internet. First one is the cyberspace. It is a great resource for research if you know how to use it properly. The second one is the Google Scholar. It may also be used to find electronic journal articles, materials from institutional repositories, and book chapters from many different sources. The third, Google Books. It provides source for scanned books where you may be able to read some chapters for free. Fourth one is the Wikipedia. It is the biggest open source encyclopedia in the world of cyberspace. In 2007, it had 40 million articles in 293 languages. Use Wikipedia as a starting point, then verify information with cited sources or peer-reviewed alternatives. For the information of everyone, Wikipedia's accuracy and reliability have been debated, while studies have shown limitations of Wikipedia, while others demonstrate its effectiveness. So now let's proceed to the next is the Project Gutenberg. It is the oldest digital library in the world, founded in 1971. So the next one is the Internet Archive. Internet Archive is an online library that originally sought to archive web history, but grew later on to provide digital versions of other works. The next one is the Philippine government websites are starting to be enriched with sources that may be used for historical research, especially on those and other government issuances that may be useful when doing topics of a more contemporary period. That's all for my part. Thank you for listening. Again, I am Jolene Alexia Francisco, but you can call me Ma'am Jaja for short. So the next subtopic will be discussed by Ma'am Margar Barbon.
So now let's proceed in doing historical research in libraries and archives. Research in libraries and archives is necessary in the study of history, as these are repositories of primary and secondary sources that allow us to create narratives of the past through accepted methods of historical scholarship. It is imperative upon students to be able to develop an aptitude toward doing research and these venues so as to further develop their skills in historical research. So it emphasizes that these institutions house primary and secondary sources crucial for constructing accurate narratives of the past. It also highlights the significance of developing research skills in these venues for students of history. Students of history are usually expected to write historical essay or historical research papers, and this entails the collection of data through primary sources. Nowadays, libraries have forgone the tedious and antiquated card cataloging system and have been using the digital version to catalog their holdings, called the Online Public Access Catalog or OPAC, sometimes simply the Library Catalog. So here, it focuses on the role of primary sources in historical research. It explained that students of histories are often expected to write essays or research papers that require the collection of data from primary sources. The slide also introduced the concept of the Online Public Access Catalog or OPAC as a modern tool for cataloging library holdings, replacing traditional card catalogs. Next, a problem that could arise this way is when the search yields too many results. Sifting through this may need a more refined search string using more definite words to limit the results. For example, Philippine history as a search string would result in hundreds, even thousands of materials. Limit it to particular keywords that focus on your topic, such as Philippine Revolution, Emilio Aguinaldo, Declaration of Independence, and other modern defined string. So here it addressed the common challenge in historical research, the abundance of search results. It suggests using more specific keywords or search string to narrow down the results and focus on relevant materials. The examples provided demonstrate how refining the search from a broad term like Philippine history to more specific terms like Philippine Revolution or Emilio Aguinaldo can significantly reduce the number of results. So next is the catalog lists down all kinds of materials available based on the subject used in the search. This could be books, journals, maps, and other materials that fit what you might be looking for. So it explains that a catalog is a tool that lists all the materials available in library such as books, journals, maps, and other resources. You can search the catalog using specific keywords or subject to find the materials you need for your search. The National Library of the Philippines in Ermita, Manila provides a rich treasure trove of materials for the student researcher interested in Philippine history, especially in their Filipiniana section. It has a valuable Rizaliana collection, several sets of Blair and Robertsons, the Philippines Islands 1943 to 1989, rare Filipiniana books, Philippine presidential papers, and other materials that are accessible to the public, especially to the students. It highlights the National Library of the Philippines as a valuable resource of historical research, particularly for those interested in Philippine history. It mentions specific collections like the Filipiniana section and the Rizaliana collections, which contains rare and valuable materials. Research in archives may be a lot more difficult and prone to be too advanced, but will provide you with many sources not available in the usual libraries. The libraries in the University of the Philippines in Diliman, Quezon City have holdings that could also be useful in research. Other university libraries are also accessible to the public. The Ateneo de Manila University in Quezon City holds the American Historical Collection, a rich source for the American period in the Philippines. Private libraries and institutions also have archives that may be used for research. Here it discusses the challenges and rewards of conducting research in archives. It acknowledges that archives can be more difficult to access and navigate, but they often hold unique and primary sources that are not available in libraries. Other university libraries are also accessible to the public. The Ateneo de Manila University in Quezon City holds the American Historical Collection, a rich source for the American period in the Philippines. Private libraries an institution also have archives that may be used for research. It briefly mentions private libraries and institutions as potential sources for research. It suggests that this organization may have archives that can be accessed for specific historical topics. So now, let's proceed to doing life histories and biographical research. Studying history is always focused on the history of nations and different collectives. Studying the life of an individual is often incidental to a greater event that has been significant to the life of a larger unit that he or she happened to contribute to. So historical studies often focus on nations and collective groups, while individual lives are sometimes seen as mere footnotes to larger historical events. However, it challenges this perspective, suggesting that individuals can have a significant impact on history. Individuals' influence can span centuries and generations. Individuals can also influence large spaces and many places. For example, Jesus Christ as an individual influenced the whole world. The faith and the religion that he started also launched wars, create civilization lasted for many centuries and proceed up to the present. As a result, on the other hand, influenced many generations of Filipinos. His novels inspired radical Filipinos to fight the colonizers, and his death was seen as the tipping point of the revolution. However, his influence was limited to the Philippines. Here it provides examples of individuals whose influence has extended far beyond their lifetimes. It highlights figures like Jesus Christ as a result, whose ideas and actions have shaped cultures and societies for centuries. Indeed, people's interest in history can be perked up once they realize that their lives can be plotted alongside the trajectory of history of a larger nation, society, or even local community. Other aspects that may be studied in order to come up with a deeper history are sector, ethnic group, and culture, zooming out to the national history of the country where that individual identifies with is also helpful. So here it discusses how studying individual lives can deepen our understanding of history. It suggests that people become more interested in history when they realize how their own lives connect to larger historical trends. Additionally, it encourages exploring various aspects of an individual's life, such as their culture, background, social class, and geographical location, to gain a more comprehensive perspective. Understanding the seemingly mundane aspect of an individual's life will provide historians insightful information that will allow him not just to simply state facts about the individuals, but also to make sense of these facts and establish connections about different aspects of the individual's life in order to understand the person that he has become. So it emphasizes the importance of understanding a seemingly mundane aspect of individual's life. It argues that these details can also provide historians with valuable insights that go beyond mere facts. By analyzing these details, historians can gain a deeper understanding of the individual's motivations, experiences, and worldview. That's all. Now let's call Mr. Abdul to discuss the doing local and oral history.
Good day everyone. I am Abdulaziz D. Awilun and I will be going to discuss to you the local and oral history. Local history in the study of the history of particular community or smaller unit of geography. Debates, however, continuously persist on the definition of this subdiscipline, particularly in the subject of study. So, explanation of this. Local history is essential because it examines the unique narratives of communities. The ongoing discussions about its definition highlight the complexity and richness of local histories. Then the second page, which is in the recent study Local history tends to cover all these topics. Local historians study the history of local institutions like churches. They also study the local economies, local heroes, and local events. Local history, thus, is also a broad and dynamic field of inquiry that aims to have an in-depth and an understanding of certain locale. So the explanation of this section shows that local history is not limited to one aspect, but includes multiple dimensions of community life, allowing us for a comprehensive understanding of local identity and development. Then the third one is local history can serve as a balancer of these tendencies by showing the peculiarities in certain locales in a particular nation, region, or continent. So studying local history can provide new and alternative interpretations on the different aspects of a nation's history. Local history also facilitates historical narrative emanating from the people. Historians call this the history from below. Ultimately, studying local history shall provide new prevailing and perspectives on the already established national history. What used to be a generalizing narrative of the nation would start to recognize certain nuances and uniqueness in the experience of people. The experience of people coming from different localities in the nation. Thus, local history is not just same to opposing the discourse in the national histories, but it is also a tool of enriching this national narrative. So, the explanation of this emphasizes that local history can challenge and enhance our understanding of national histories by showcasing the diverse experiences of communities, making history more inclusive. Then we have the fourth one, which is doing local history. However, it's not an easy task. Despite the seemingly smaller scope of the study, historians are often faced with challenge in locating sources for local and specific subjects of study. For example, it is much easier to study the life of national heroes than that of a local hero. So this highlights the difficulties researchers encounter when delving into local histories, such as the scarcity of resources and documentation that can impede their work. Then we have the fifth one, which is oral history is important in the midst of scarcity in the city sources, historical documentation, and other material evidence. So this method uses oral accounts of historical subjects, witnesses, members of the communities, and the like. Oral history primarily relies on memory. The subject or the informant will recount his experiences to the researcher as he remembers it. In other instances, the informant will rely what he learned from his ancestors or older members of the community to the historian. This nature and definition of oral history cause positivist historians or those who subscribe to the belief that history should be primarily based on written documentary to criticize the methods of oral history. So the explanation of this section explains the significance of oral history in preserving community narratives despite the challenges associated with verifying memories. It also highlights the tension between traditional and oral historical methods. Then let's proceed to the sixth page, which is local and oral history are important endeavors in the development and enrichment in the discipline of history. These efforts These efforts fill the gaps in the discipline by highlighting alternative areas of study and methodology toward a more holistic, inclusive, and progressive study of our past. So, the explanation? In conclusion, this underscores the importance of local and oral history in broadening the field of history, making it more inclusive and representative of diverse experiences. So, hello again. So, I will be going to discuss to you about the interacting with history through historical shrines and museum. Let's proceed to the first page. These venues for living history provide us a certain level of authority and trustworthiness. Trustworthiness that could impact the way we view the past. Through interacting with artifacts such as a World War II rifle or the clothes of a Filipino hero, we can better imagine the past beyond the mere letter and words we read and painstakingly memorize. So these tangible objects are reconstructions of the past. Experiencing these artifacts directly is the next best thing to actually being there. When a particular event happened or when a historical person lived. So the explanation of this. This is not about passively reading dates and names in a textbook. Imagine holding a World War II rifle. The weight of a history is literally in your hands. Or picture yourself looking at the clothes of a Filipino hero. You're connecting with a real person who lived and breathed, fought, and struggled. Diba? It's nakaka-goosebump, isn't it? These aren't just objects. They're time capsules whispering stories of the past. So these tangible artifacts give historical accounts a level of authenticity and trustworthiness that you just cannot get from reading a book. So it's like stepping into a scene from a movie, but it's real. It happened and you're a part of it now. Para kang nasa isang pelikula pero totoo ang lahat. Then let's proceed to the page 2. These first-hand experiences make historical events more real for us, and research shows that learning by experiencing aid with retention of the learning later in life. So, the explanation of it, learning by doing, di ba? Seeing and touching things make history mas real. It's not just memorizing dates, it's actually getting it. You know that studies show that this kind of learning sticks with you longer. Talagang na-observe mo. Then let's proceed to the page 3. Historical shrines and museums serve as portals to the past, but one must also take note that visiting a museum entails preparation. In the course of your study, you are bound to visit one or two of the sites. Once you know what you will be visiting, it is essential to do a background reading on the place you will visit so that you may know what to expect and you can situate the importance of the place you will be visiting in the national historical narrative. So, the explanation of it. Visiting a historical site is not just about showing up. It's about preparing for a journey. Think of it as an adventure. Before you go, do your research. Read up on the place, its history, and its significance para alam natin or alam mo ang buong kwento bago ka pumunta. So, this preparation will enrich your experience. You'll be able to connect the specific site to the larger narrative of Philippine history, seeing its place in the grand scheme of things. It's like having a secret decoder ring to unlock the deeper meaning of what you're seeing. Then let's proceed to the page 4. So upon arriving in the historical shrine or museum, one thing that you can do is to look for the historical marker. So these markers put up by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, or NHCP, or formerly known National Historical Institute, or NHI. It provides the basic details on what makes a certain site historical. So these markers ensure that the site where it is located is indeed of historical and cultural value to the nation. So the explanation of it, those historical markers put up by the NHCP aren't just signs, they're official stamps of approval. They're saying this place is important. This is a part of our shared history. Para sure ka na authentic at mahalaga ang pupuntahan mo, they provide a level of assurance and legitimacy, confirming the historical significance of the site and giving you a sense of confidence in what you are learning. Then let's proceed to the page 5. Shrines and museum are a lot interactive now, aided by the available technology. Take the chance and participate in these interactive opportunities to experience history firsthand. So watch the videos, listen to the sounds, and enjoy the experience. So this is also a great chance to analyze the artifacts, since artifacts are also texts that are open for reading, interpretation, criticism, and evaluation. So the explanation of it. Today's museum aren't just dusty old places with things behind glass. They're interactive and engaging. Videos, sounds, and digital displays bring history to life. Parang nanonood ka ng isang interactive na pelikula. You're not just a passive observer. You're an active participant. And those artifacts, they're not just objects. They're texts, stories waiting to be deciphered. You get to interpret them, analyze them, and even form your own opinions. Para kang detective na nag-iimbestiga sa mga clues ng nakaraan. It's a chance to become a historian yourself. That's all for my part, and I thank you.